Happy Friday, everybody. I am at a different place. I am always traveling these days. So I have been traveling like crazy, and here I am again. I'll be headed up to Anderson, Indiana today for some workshops that I'm going to be doing up there. Check, check, check. Let's see here. Is everything coming through? I'm just going to double check everything. Making sure. Can you hear me? If somebody could give me just a little feedback, can you hear me? Is this coming through? Is the audio working, or is it just me, pantomiming? I don't know sign language, so I would sign something, but let's see here. I'll even type it in. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? So let's see here. Let's see. I think I'm having some technical difficulties. Let's see. Loud and clear, says Eric. Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric. Welcome everybody to Friday. And you know what? I don't get a chance to do YouTube lives very often. And it's because I have been traveling quite a bit, and I have to travel a lot for my job. And I don't always feel good about that, to be honest. I have a family, and I don't always get to hang out with my family as much as I would like to, but they have been really great and very understanding. I am waiting to go have a haircut and a beard trim. Can you tell that I kind of need one? Like, it's whenever you can't see my upper lip, that's whenever I know, okay, it's time. It's getting close to time. I used to have a much more like flourishing beard, and I don't know. I just started to like having a little bit closer to the face, but we'll see. It is looking shaggy, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It is looking a little shaggy, Dave. But during like 2020 and even a little bit before that, I would have just this monster beard. You like the shagginess. You like the shagginess, David. Well, I would have this monster beard, and so I started doing a little bit closer to the face, and then I kind of liked it, and so I'm gonna stick with the closer to the face. Got my unsweet tea. Here. I know that's an abomination. Actually, I know it's an abomination in the South, which is where I know you are, Dave. I apologize to all my Southern friends. Unsweet tea is what I drink. But anyway, guys, so today I'm going to be taking questions, comments. I just dropped a there is you said it. Hey, Moose Man, it's nice to have you here. We're going to be having fun. I've got about an hour to hang out before I have to go get this trimmed, despite Dave's comments. I feel like if I get it a little closer, it takes it in a little bit. I don't know. I've even toyed with the idea of shaving the beard altogether, but I just don't think I can. I don't think I can do it. Thank you, Dave. I will do me. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about just kind of anything you want. I did have a question that was sent to me during the last hour. I dropped a video about, do we have free will? So that is, of course, that's I don't know. Is it a powder keg? Is it a powder keg to ask that question? Because of course, that is one of those questions that you can take it a lot of different ways. What does free will mean? Where does this concept come from? And so I just dropped that video. Take a look at it. It is a little bit longer than the average video. I think it's about 10 minutes long. And of course, hey, if you have comments or if you want to share with me what you think about that in the video or in this session today, feel free to do so. But during that video, I did have a person. Of course, I was hoping people would listen and really contemplate the concepts of free will, and then I had a person ask a breathing question. But that's okay. That's okay. This is a channel that's dedicated to that, and of course, where I'm going. So for those of you guys who have been following the channel for some time, of course, I was just pretty much I did Wim Hof, and that was an introduction to me, and it was an introduction to me into breath work, into cold exposure, into a lot of these other things. And then what I found was that what he was doing is actually things that people have been doing for thousands of years, and there's a whole lot more out there. So I've been exploring all of that over the last few years. Of course, I published my book, A Practical Guide to Breathwork, in 2020. I'm about to release my next book on breathwork, which is my whole philosophy, my complete philosophy of breathwork. And that is coming out in October. And actually, I'm not telling anybody. That's a secret, but it is coming out in October. It's called The Language of Breath, and it is ultimately, it's circling around this stuff that I've been exploring and the things that really I find the most interesting. And it comes down to, and it relates to free will. It relates to how we look at the world, and it relates to the aspects of our subjective human experience. And I know some people are like, snooze fest, just get me high on my own supply. I get you. I was there. Uh, but I think I don't know, maybe it's just, I think eventually we have to go a little bit deeper and start to contemplate a little bit more about what it is we're doing here, and why we think the way we think. And this is especially when I work with clients. I do a lot of coaching for like things, basically life change. So a lot of people, they think, hey, all I need is breath work. If I sit here and I do breathing or whatever, it's going to change my life. But the reality is that your actions change your life. The things you actually do, that's the thing that is your life. It's not the, it's not the supplement that you take. It's not the breath work. And believe me, you've heard me say breath work changed my life. Okay. And that is true, but it is a tool that led me to change my life through actions that I had taken, because I was able to form a better relationship within myself. And that might sound a bit woo-woo, but in reality, we have dual experiences, a consistent dual experience that together combine to our subjective human experience. And I can unpack that. I unpack it in my book that's coming up, but I unpack it a little bit in the video that I just dropped about the conscious and the unconscious self, and how this works, how it works, that we have these concepts of, I believe I'm making this conscious choice versus the things that I feel like I'm compelled to do. The interesting thing is, and I don't want to do the spoiler. I want you to watch the video. I need the clicks, guys. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit, I guess. Promise you'll go, if nothing else, just watch, like click play, and then, go clean your house or something like that. And just see if just help me with the algorithm a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Dave says free will equals the ability to choose the thoughts we allow into our subconscious. Other than that, I say no. So yeah, so my concept, or the way I approach it when it comes to free will, is we have a conscious and an unconscious experience, right? And much of our experience is unconscious. And my neuroscientist friend, Dr. Adam Musick, he hates it when I say this percentage, because everything is more complex. We love to oversimplify everything, right? And but when we approach the complexity of life, oftentimes we get lost in the infinite or the finite. We can get lost in either one of those things. So, but I will say it. Ultimately, it's estimated that only about 5% of our brain function is what we would consider our conscious mind, or our conscious thinking self. And about 95% of what we are, who we are, of everything that constitutes this organism that makes us, is unconscious processes. And it's more than just, okay, yes, I know my autonomic nervous system makes my heart beat. I know that, my brain stem is there for allostatic purposes. It's more than that. It's the subconscious. It's because a lot of the subconscious things that we hold there, those beliefs. And if you want an amazing coach, a guy who has influenced me, and I still have an enormous amount of admiration, it is Iron Tamer Dave Whitley. And he works with people with this, and he's been doing this forever. But ultimately, those subconscious beliefs that you have affect the conscious decisions and the things that you even feel like you have to make a conscious decision about. So anyway, it's complex. I made a video about it and it just dropped today. I'd love for you to watch it. Please click like, share it with everyone you know. Watch it to the very end, tickle the algorithm. I would appreciate it. Santa asked me if I would shave my head bald. I've thought about that too, just because I have a little bit of the receding, the widow's peak, as some people some people say. I'm hanging on though. I'm hanging on. If the genetics story that I hear so often, if it holds true, then I should just have this the rest of my life, and it just gets a little thinner or a little bit more fine. Because my grandfather on my mother's side pretty much had the same head of hair. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go, a lot of times, the guys that go bald completely here, and then they have the hair curtain on the side. And if I had that happen, I would probably do the shaving of the head option. I don't know. You guys tell me. I have never tried. What is it? The Hims or the stuff that's supposed to grow your hair back? I've never tried any of that stuff. Is that worth it? I've never even thought about doing that up until this moment. I do use a shampoo that has rosemary in it. Apparently that's good for your hair. My wife got me started on it. It smells good. So that's good. We're going to get to the question that started this impromptu, really live. And I appreciate you guys being on here. Ask me your questions. I will tell you jokes. And we're going to have a good time because it's Friday and let's start the weekend. But James, he said, hey, Jesse, quick question on free will. If you answer it or not, will I answer it? See, I do have free will. I can decide whether or not I answer it now that it's in my conscious decision-making process. Now that it's up into the conscious part of my of my human existence, I can decide, oh, maybe I can, maybe I will, or maybe I won't. But let's see what your question is. Just over a cold. You just got over a cold. And can I ask, should I ease myself back into the cold showers now and get back into my breathing techniques, nasal or mouth? So here's the crazy thing. I'm actually working on, I'm going to throw this in there. I just want to throw this in there. I'm working on, of course, I've got my book coming out in October, and then in the spring that I was going to release a practical guide to cold training, which is going to be the definitive guide. Okay. You might already own the ebook. If you do, you get an automatic free upgrade to this new tome of enlightenment. I'm having fun if I use the word enlightenment with anything that I do. But anyway, I'm going to be publishing that in a book copy, in a Audible and all that. I should be doing it in the spring of next year. So look out for that. If you would like to get the ebook version that's out now, and then the automatic upgrade whenever it comes out, you can do that. It's on my website, jessecoomer.com. And I cover a lot of these things in the version that's out now still. But okay, so James, here's the issue. When it comes to cold training is a stressor, right? So this has been done for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. In fact, when it comes to cold training, there's a common misconception that there are benefits of cold training, so that it will enhance your immune system and it makes your immune system stronger. So it depends on how you look at it. And I would encourage people to look at cold training not as a way to make their immune system stronger, but as a way to revitalize their immune system to where it should be already. And so it's not like you're becoming superhuman, or a lot of that. We love to have all these taglines and clickbaits and things like that. But it is equally awesome. It is equally awesome to believe and just to think about this. Our ancestors, no matter where your ancestors lived, unless they were right on the equator, our ancestors had to deal with extreme temperature changes, and there are places, even in like deserts, where you can die of hyperthermia in the daytime, like literally heat exhaustion. Even in those places, you can die of hypothermia at nighttime. So our ancestors had to deal with this. I mean, we're talking about thousands, most of human history. And that affected our genetics in a way that we're just now starting to learn really what's happened. And basically, it's interesting. Your immune system expects to have those stressors. Your immune system's even more than your immune system, I would say just your organism expects to have those stressors. So in order to regain the health that a human being could have, and that a human being naturally does have, we have to engage with these stressors. Now, we don't have to live out in the cold like our ancestors did, but we do need to engage with these stressors. The same way with exercise, same way with, I mean, so many like heat therapy and all these other things that we use in the biohacking world. Ultimately, it's not necessarily like a lot of times we think we found some secret code to make us, I guess, healthier than a human naturally would be. The reality is, we're finding out that there are certain stressors that our organism expects. Now, when it comes to, hey, I got sick and I want to come back into my cold training practice, James, here's a few things I would recommend. One, ease back into it. Yes, that is important. And just go easy and be really kind to yourself, and understand that it also depends on what's happening in your life. Are you under enormous amounts of stress? Are you currently suffering from, other stressors that are coming into your life? We always want to think about about how much stress are we receiving in one day, because it will take a toll. And while we are designed to handle stress, whenever we're already in a high level of stress and we add more stress to that organism, oftentimes we overstress ourselves and there can be a negative effect. So think about this. I want you to, James, here we go. I'm going to give you some coaching for free right here and now. So write this down. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about where you are right now. And you have to take maybe a physical inventory and a psychological inventory and say, how do I feel? Am I in the middle of some big stressor? And if you're not, if it's kind of normal, kind of the general everyday, then say, okay, great. Let's ease back into the cold. And I would just say, start finishing your hot showers with 30 seconds, then a minute, then a minute and a half, then start. Once you're at a minute and a half at the end of a hot shower, you're doing, 90 seconds cold shower. Then I would say, okay, let's go back into my regular cold shower routine. And then I would say, okay, after I can take a 3-minute cold shower, maybe a 4-minute, 5-minute, then I would maybe say, okay, what else can I do with the cold? Now, I don't know where you live, James. I believe you made a comment. I just posted about the Convergence this year. The Convergence it's probably the most earthy retreat that I do, and it's the least expensive. So if you ever want to do a retreat with me, the Convergence is the one that's the most affordable, and it's ridiculous how much value we put into it. And I saw you made a comment about that. I would love to see you come out. If you're in North America, you're going to find out that your cold shower is not quite as cold. Okay, so the cold shower is not quite as cold. And hang on just a second. Oh no, I got a phone call I got to do here in a minute. So let's get through this. Breathing, nasal only. And unless there's, and of course there's always complicated. There's always more complicated. There's more complexity. However, if you learn the language of breath system from me, all of my breath workers, we do everything nasal. I mean, the only thing we don't do nasal is there's I can point to maybe 2 things that would be through the mouth, and it's never an inhale. Well, only in rare occasions would you have an inhale through the mouth. Nasal breathing is king, and it's not just because of functionality. It's not just because of the NO2. It's not just because of CO2. Okay, those are the ones that everybody always calls out, and those are true. Those are great. Those are really optimal reasons to get into nasal breathing. But you will have far more integration, right? You'll have far more you're gonna have a far superior experience if you can learn to do breath work with 100% nasal breathing. That is the key. And this is something that I have a lot of people who would disagree with me on that. But once you learn how to do it and once you start doing it, you can see why the yogis did it for thousands of years. All right. And so people are like, well, so and so says it doesn't matter and this and that. There's a reason why the yogis did it for thousands of years. Nasal, 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 and very rarely with the mouth. And I will tell you this, that if you do my online course, which is on my website, you can go to languageofbreathcollective.com or jessecoomer.com. You do the Language of Breath course. It's a 7-week course. I mean, I take you through the full Language of Breath, philosophy of breath work. You will be really, I think you'll be converted. I've made a lot of converts and you're like, oh, what about this? What about this? Yeah. Even whenever you're doing really fast, heavy rhythmic breathing, nasal only, if you can manage to do that, you're going to have a far superior experience. And I don't care who says otherwise. So you can enjoy that. Let's see here. So, hey, Manpreet had the question that this all started on, but I'm going to see Mooseman's had a thing here. Oh, hey, I'll see you later, Dave. You probably already bailed, but thanks so much for being here. Mooseman, he says, what that's the idea behind the convergence, isn't it? Developing multiple tools to expand your life and consciousness. Absolutely, Mooseman. The convergence is all about, here's the cool thing. So I introduce you to 2 very deep styles of breath work. So I take you through the listening exercise, which is, I would say that is the trademark Language of Breath integrative exercise. And ultimately, what's really crazy is if you get into this kind of breath work, you're in a state where it almost feels like you're in a dream. You're in a dream state. And it's not just but the thing is, it's not like I'm trying to escape. I'm trying to get high, man. Not that. You do feel amazingly pleasurable and it's a beautiful, wonderful experience, but it's about learning to listen to the unconscious you. And that unconscious you is trying to speak. And that's why we call it the listening exercise. That unconscious you is going to say something, and it's not going to speak in a voice like in English or whatever. It's going to speak in images, stories, and then that's the experience you're going to get. So it is a fantastic one. I at the James Nestor retreat last time, that's the one I led, 100 people in, and fireworks. So that's one of the things we're doing at the convergence. Although it's not $6,000 like the James Nestor retreat, this is, I think it's like $600 or maybe $700 to go. It is camping, so camping's included. You can also stay. We also have an option. You can upgrade to like a yurt or a tiny home or some of the like a yome, I think it's called. So you can do a little glamping, or you can do camping. Or some people just stay at a local hotel and then they just come to the grounds for the event and then they go back at night. But we got cacao ceremony, we got sweat lodge, we got cold training. There's all sorts of things, but it's not just like, hey, let's have a party. Even though it is an amazing, fun experience. What it is basically we don't have rites of passage anymore. We don't have, like in the modern world, when we try to make these changes, oftentimes we need what we call in the convergence elemental rites of passage. So we'd use breath work, we use primal movement, nature exposure, heat, cold, all these things together with intention. And at the beginning of the convergence, we literally have a funeral, and we ceremonially say goodbye to something that you've been carrying along with you, that you're ready to let it die so that something new can be born in its place. And it's done in North Carolina in the mountains. Like literally you can drink the water out of the streams. It's that good. I mean, it's that pure. It is that clean. We don't drink the water out of the streams because Rob Linfesti, who's the owner of the Eco Retreat Center, he has these springs that they're tapped and you can just drink and drink and drink. It's the most delicious water on the planet. We have amazing food. and we do cacao ceremony. We do, and then if you would like to sing with me around a campfire at night, that is probably one of my favorite things. April, you're going to have a funeral for your phone. You can do that. You can do that. It may not be the most ecological thing to burn your phone because we do offer, like, for instance, one year a guy, he brought a case of beer, but just like like the cardboard thing, like that the beer like a case would come in. He burned that. Some one woman last year, she was going through a divorce, and she burned the like the bride and groom thing that was on the top of her wedding cake. I mean, we do want to have something symbolic. Now, the idea is this is symbolizing this thing that I've been carrying with me. I don't need to carry it with me anymore. I'm gonna let this die because it's taking space that something good could fill that space. But no, this whole time I've been carrying this thing. Now, if you don't have something like an item to burn, we have ceremonial tobacco that you can throw in the fire as you speak it out. And I'm just saying, like I said, I do a lot of events where most of my work nowadays is with military academies, with police, with firefighters, EMTs, first responders, all those things. And I don't get to kind of let my wild side go wild. So I always look forward to this event because it is the wildest event of the year. And I got to say, yeah, definitely, April, you got to let go of shame. We have, like, for 1 year, someone she was carrying around the death of a friend. And she had felt that friend, she felt a sense of responsibility for that friend committed suicide. You know, there's so many things we carry around with us that prevent us from being the person that we want to be. So that's the whole point of the convergence. Yes, we have a fantastic time. I mean, it is literally the most fun you can have in a weekend, but it's also for a purpose. And we literally have a birthing ceremony at the end. And it's a powerful, it is through cold exposure that we do our birthing at the end. But it's also, you take a look at, I think I have at least one of the promo videos on my channel already. So take a look at that a little bit later. Anyway, so yeah, I went on a little tangent there. I may have to head out here in a second, but we'll see how long I can go. Let's see here. So James, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, James. All right, Manpreet, you are the reason why I initially had this impromptu YouTube live, and I'm so glad that you asked that question because I'm having a great time and we've got a good group. Oh, April she had a little kava. Kava's my jam. Kava's my jam. I wish this was kava. This is just unsweet tea. I like tea though. So anyway, Manpreet asked a question about belly breathing. He had this thing about apparently he watched a video and someone was saying there is no such thing as belly breathing because that is diaphragmatic breathing. And so he was asking me about breathing with the stomach and things like that. And I think right now I think it's semantics. And what I mean about this is the way we say things is, I think there's just confusion there. So what is belly breathing? What is diaphragmatic breathing? It's all the same thing. It's just different ways of saying it. When we say belly breathing, what we're meaning is, okay, we're using the diaphragm to pull down the lower lobes of the lungs, opening up those lower lobes. That's where we get the very best gas exchange. So we're using the diaphragm, we're pulling down those lungs. And when you do that, you're going to notice that you feel expansion in your belly. It's not like air is going down there. Air is in your lungs, right? That's where we do the gas exchange. But you're going to feel expansion in your belly. You can also feel expansion on your stomach. So on your left side, the left side of your body, you have your stomach. On the right side, you have your, let's see here. All right, there was my phone call, but I'm gonna keep going for just another minute. I want to finish this talk, and I'll call back. Anyway, on the left side, you have your stomach. On the right side, you have your liver. Okay, so it feels a little different. You may notice, especially doing deep breath work, that after you eat, you might have, it might be a little uncomfortable to take a deep breath, but it's not like the air is going into your stomach. It's just going into your lungs. And the reason why we call it belly breathing is because you notice an expansion in your belly when you're using your diaphragm appropriately. Okay. And so it's a little bit more complex than that, but that's essentially the basics of belly breathing. Okay. So belly breathing, now you're not breathing through the stomach, but you are breathing down into the belly. Okay. So there's the belly, there's the stomach is an organ. The belly is a word that we use for just kind of like your abdominal area. I would say the part of yourself that is below your rib cage and above your pelvis. That's kind of what we might call our belly area. And it's not just the front of your belly. I would call that the tummy, if we're throwing words around. But I would say, you should feel expansion in the sides and also in your low back. And if you take my online course, The Language of Breath, you'll find out all about how that works. And I even have a whole lecture in that course. And I go really deep into it on ventilation perfusion, how the lobes work, what is the effectively how our organism uses the law of gases to its benefit with every breath. So I cover that in the Language of Breath online course, which I would highly recommend. We're going to probably this fall do a live version of it. But if you've already bought the online course, you're going to get a discount code for the live version, and that'll be when the book is coming out. So that'll go along with the book release. So guys, I want to thank you all for being here. I do need to go and take a call real quick. But I wanted to hop on, have a little time to chat. Guys, I thank you so much. Please like, subscribe the channel. I apologize for kind of neglecting to make a lot of videos on this channel. I've been so busy that I haven't been able to tend to the channel quite as much as I like. But please, when you see a video of mine pop up, if you don't mind giving it a watch, giving it a like, it really helps me a lot. And I appreciate all the love. So guys, I'm doing my best. I'm going to try to do more lives because I have so much fun with you guys. This is such a great group and I love all of these questions. So thank you guys so much. I will look forward to seeing you guys. Yeah. Check me out on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those places. And don't forget to go out there and be kind to one another. Have a great weekend, guys.